So, good morning, everybody, to Balance Bites. It's October, and whether the weather allows it to be October weather is a completely different conversation because what was it yesterday? Like 30
30
degrees.
degrees.
Yeah.
And today it's raining and it's 18 degrees. Let's never complain about living in Southern Ontario, okay, my friends? Because, or anywhere else, because we get a mixture of both. So, but we are gonna have some good conversations today about sports nutrition. So even if you're not an active athlete or you're walking what was it, 11,000 steps, Michael?
12,000.
14.
12 and a half so far.
Yeah, yeah.
12,000. That's fine. We're just gonna promote any active lifestyle here today, okay? So don't feel like you have to go run a marathon or do what Michael's doing every morning, but at the bare minimum, we are gonna promote exercise period, and that is why I brought on our amazing co-hosts today, Dr. Joel Kerr and Dr. Claire. What's your last name, Claire?
Bacaresa.
Graza. Okay, so I'm gonna ask that you guys just stick around longer. We have it until 11 o'clock because we have two beautiful presentations. First, we're gonna be starting off with them, but I'm gonna do our little tips and tricks in the beginning, like we always do. So let's dive right into that. But yes, Veronica, you can start us off with our disclaimer. Oh, you're muted, Veronica.
You want to put that into presenter view?
Yes. There we go.
Excellent. All right, we're making progress. So, good morning, everyone. Starting with the disclaimer of the most important legal jargon end of our show. So, Lindsay and I are certified holistic nutritional practitioners. We are not doctors. Therefore, we cannot diagnose any conditions, we cannot prescribe any medications, and the purpose of these sessions is simply to share information and help people learn to balance out their nutrition and their lives with holistic, natural methods. Myself and Lindsay cannot be held liable for how you choose to interpret the information or what you do with it. Always talk to your family doctor before trying any new supplement or drastically changing your diet. It's a good idea to get your doctor on your healthcare team to keep them up to date and get them involved. It's a lot easier to reach your health and wellness goals.
Absolutely. Okay. Tips for today, my friends. We are going to dive into more topics later after the presentation, but we're just going to do little tidbits for now. So, eating your macros. It is crucial to get a good balance of protein, carbs, fats throughout your day to optimize your body and to get all those nutrients. It is also beneficial to record your macros as well. If you don't, that's okay. But usually, when looking at your plate, you should see a good balance between the three on every plate that you eat throughout the day. So just keep that in mind. Okay, we'll dive more into that later. Inflammatory foods, one of the biggest topics of the sports industry, in my opinion. Okay, they are the key to any aches and pains you experience in and out of the gym. And they also promote longevity and also help with the gut lining, which is 9 times out of 10 where we start as nutritionists, is to help your gut. Number 3, slow down. You might have remembered this from last month, but this one is a little bit different. Listen to your body and slow down when you feel pain. It is not worth risking an injury. And I'm sure Dr. J and Dr. Claire will have a great conversation to you about sports related injuries and such. But yes, if you feel it in your body, listen to it. Okay. Veronica, you can take the next
Yep.
3 away.
So hydration, super important, but the thing people usually might forget about is the electrolytes. So water is the unsung superhero, but electrolytes are what help you to absorb the water and to use it better. So it's important to have them both together. That's why things like sports drinks, so Gatorade and such, those exist. It's also, you can get electrolyte powders to add to your water, and some of them taste really good. So that's a definite recommendation. Greens. Eating greens promotes detoxification, healthy bones, calming your body down. All of these are crucial for working out and promoting weight loss. And finally, complex carbs. They promote longer bursts of energy without the crash, as opposed to simple carbs, And I'm sure you know the difference, but does anybody want to tell me if they know what it is?
I won't
Lindsay,
answer.
not you.
I know. Anybody? Michael, do you know what a complex carb is? Well, that Snickers bar is not a complex carb. Sorry, your coffee crisp is not a complex carb. It is the complete opposite. Anybody want to try? Maybe Christina or Megan or anybody? 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 Nobody know what's a complex carb? Well, you're going to learn a lot about them today. But I do want to highlight on electrolytes, even adding a simple pinch of a good quality salt to your water every day, electrolytes. Okay. The reason we add lemons and limes to our waters, electrolytes. Okay. Electrolytes are basically any of that category. So keep that in mind. Okay. Nobody knows a complex carb? Okay. We're going to quiz you later. Everybody take notes. So okay, so now, I don't know, Dr. J wants to present himself. You guys want to present yourself? I have your copy of your presentation, but it's really up to you. So
Do you want us to share, or you have it uploaded already?
I have it and I can switch slides or whatever if that makes life easier. Let me
You can
see
do it.
how I
I just
do.
made co-hosts so they can share on their
Yeah.
own.
Oh, okay. You guys can share it then.
Thank you.
No problem. So give the floor to these guys. They're the best. I'm going to ask that you keep your questions to the end as much as possible, but feel free to put comments in the comment field or raise your hand. Okay?
How do I move all these guys around? Present. Okay. Okay. All good.
All right, folks.
First of all, can everyone see this screen okay?
Yeah, that's number one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all right.
Perfect.
Yeah, you guys are good.
So I suspect the one good thing that came out of COVID was the use of virtual platforms to have meetings. And I love the fact that we can all connect no matter where we are in jungle villages like Veronica, or in
Just grass.
desks or on the road like Spencer. We can all connect and we can all learn. And I think that's the beauty of this virtual platform. On our end, as Coach Lindsay has eloquently described us as, we are both manual medicine clinicians. We are also educators. Our education platform is called BASE, and it stands for Building an Athletic Structure for Exercise. And I want to make it explicitly clear that every single person on this call is an athlete. You are an athlete. I am now anointing you as such, but there are obviously different versions of athletes. There's professional ones, and then there's day-to-day ones. And I'm going to allow you to determine which one you are. But what we really want to emphasize today with this conversation, and this is a conversation, it's not a lecture, I'm not talking down to you. The only thing I will disagree with Coach Lindsay on is you don't need to wait to ask questions. We want this engaged. So if you have a question, you can simply put your hand up, unmute yourself, pose the question, and we'll go from there. So this is our version of health. And depending upon what practitioner you speak to, they may have 10 pillars, 8 pillars, but we're going to go with 4. And our 4 pillars of health are hydration, which Coach Lindsay included in her list. Like, we need to make sure we hydrate. From the time that Michael woke up, I really hope he had at least 500 to 1 liter of water with those 11,000 steps. At least, bare minimum.
Go ahead, Michael.
Go ahead, Michael.
2 glasses of water before I walk out the door.
That's
Perfect.
Okay, great. Okay, bare minimum. Right? And Veronica and Lindsay will get into the nutrition piece, which I know they will. A missing link to all of health is sleep. We are all ambitious. We are entrepreneurs. We're learners. We're workers. We have family. Sometimes we think that we can sacrifice our sleep to get more work done. And I want us all to agree, and I'm guilty of that too. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not, but we really need to do better in North America with sleep, because we think we can just get away with 4 hours, 5 hours. But at the end of the day, you can do everything of these 3 out of the 4 of these pillars and skip out on your sleep, and you're not going to get the benefit. Our focus today with our presentation is the last pillar, which is movement. And we're going to dive into how we look at prescribing movement, and that's the basis of building an athletic structure for exercise. Anything to add to that? You're good? All right. So this is the home base team. My wife and I are working together. And I'll be honest, one of my pet peeves is when people look at me and say, how can you work with your wife? And I'm like, bro, you don't like your wife. That's why you're saying that. But I can, because I actually like her. And our goal right now is we want to educate as many coaches, clinicians, individuals who have a human frame that wants to move with confidence and wants to be a better version of their athletic ability. And that is our mission that we're on right now. And this is part of it. So what do we know about the human movement? And we've taken this direct quote that I would like to read right off to you, because this is important. The human body is an amazing orchestra of muscle contractions controlled by the central nervous system that is to create joint actions. These systems, I like to call them subsystems, work together. Nothing in the human body works in isolation. Just like when we eat something, we cannot decide where it goes. If you are on the mission of having a big butt and you're eating food thinking that the food's going to go there, it doesn't work that way. Or if you're on a mission of trying to lose your gut and you think not eating is going to make you lose that, it doesn't work that way either. It's the same thing with human movement. All of the structures of the body work in unison, and when you do too much of one movement or you bias a certain movement, your body's going to let you know. Like Coach Lindsay said, move slow when you feel your body talking to you. It's telling you something. It might be telling you that you're doing too much too fast, or it might be telling you that you're doing too much in one specific movement plane. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is the trifecta of movement, to be honest with you. My apologies. The trifecta of movement here is mobility, stability, and strength. And we deliberately put stability in the middle because most people may not even know what it is. But it's your body's ability to change in space and then come back to what we would call homeostasis. You can't do that without the ability to move your body, and you cannot do that without strength. Henceforth, why we put it right in the middle of this Venn diagram. And just a show of hands, and this is where I want us to all be adults and participate. Sometimes when we speak to student athletes, their camera's off, they don't talk, they're mumbling and grumbling, but we're adults here, and you all want to learn. I want to see a show of hands, actually, of how many of you are working on your mobility daily. Put your hands in the air and or an emoji for your hand. Okay, good. Spencer, Ivan, anyone else want to put a little emoji to let me know if you're working on your mobility? Spencer is the only one that can't do it because he's driving. Spencer, I don't want to see it.
No, I just love that my mom put a thumbs down.
Okay. Well, you can talk to mom about that later. All right. So how about strength? How many individuals are working on their strength daily? Okay.
Not too bad.
And then let's see who is going to really show off. Who's working on their stability daily? And what does that look like? Hold that question.
I think this plays a role too, and I always like to tie in social media because we are in the age of social media. Everything is super accessible in our profession, in Lindsay and Veronica's profession. I know on my algorithm, I see, okay, this is the one exercise that's going to fix this. Do this mobility routine and all of these things will go away. And I would assume it's the same in the nutrition world.
Absolutely.
All these different types of diets. You have keto, you have
Starvation.
Yeah, really any type of diet out there. But what this slide is supposed to hone in on is the fact that all of these things work together. Nothing works in unison. We need a holistic, a well-rounded approach in all of those 4 pillars of health, right? Because go ahead on your piece, Lindsay.
Yeah, just as holistic nutritionists, we don't promote any radical diet.
Yeah.
And keyword on the radical, because we actually had one class where we went through every version of a diet out there and why they work and why they don't work. And that's why nutritionists will personalize your approach to
I
your
want to use that word radical with radical exercise routines. That's great.
Yeah, you should.
But you're right. You are right. And at the end of the day, I hope everyone can agree that radical diets, radical exercise routines, radical anything is just to draw attention. Draw attention, get more eyes on it so you can make more money, because that is what the industry that we are in. Health and fitness, sadly, has become an industry. And in my humble opinion, it shouldn't be. Everyone should be entitled and have the support they need
And
to
just
be a
have
healthier
access.
version. And
Just have
access.
access. And
Access is key.
it really just starts with education in our mind, which is why we're doing what we're doing.
And this is why we're on this call. Okay. All right. The athlete spectrum. As I mentioned to you, all of you are athletes, and there's just a different range of it. Getting out of a chair is a physical movement. You need muscles to produce force to be able for you to get out of the chair. You could either get out of the chair like a normal human being, or you can get out of it really, really fast, and that will take you to the other end of the spectrum. Obviously, jumping is another type of athleticism. But the way that we really look at movement, or our dynamic intervention actually, is in these 2 spectrums. You're either reconditioning your body, or you're teaching it how to do things, or you're on the performance side. And I can't see this being any different on the nutritional aspect as well. You're either going to support your body to move it forward into another spectrum, or you're going to attempt to excel what it is potentially doing right now. And this is the simplest way to describe to your patients, and I'm describing to you all and our athletes, this is where our beginning of our programming is. We are going to set the foundation in a reconditioning format, and then once we attain the necessary stability, strength, and mobility, then we can start advancing the movements, making them a little bit more explosive, faster, more load, and that will allow for higher performance.
All right, so components of movement. So these circles here are just highlighting like the main joints that we have in our body. We obviously have many more, but these are kind of the main ones that we're going to talk about today. So although all need to be able to be stable and mobile in different situations, if we look at each joint individually, they each have a primary function. Does everyone understand what it means when a joint needs to be stable and mobile in different situations?
Can you actually explain that?
Yeah, want to take a note?
Absolutely. So Ivan, I believe you are our tech master, correct?
Wow. Thanks, Lindsay. Sure.
Absolutely. So for example, because of this title that Lindsay gave you, you know that there's specific parts of your body, specifically your wrist, your elbows, and your shoulders, that are going to be in constant movement as you're sitting at the computer, as you're at a screen, right?
Yeah.
So in that position, they need to be mobile, okay? But at the same time, if you were to have to move your desk, your wrist, your elbow, and your shoulder would have to have some stability. You'd have to have a force closure for you to pick up your desk and move it. So
Okay.
this is the reason why you want joints to be stable, to be able to hold a load, and mobile and have dexterity to be able to type, move the screen around, chop up this video, make us look extra smart and good looking. That's pretty much it.
All
And
right.
that's typically, if not all the time, when injury occurs, when a joint is unable to be stable or mobile in the situation in which it needs to be stable or mobile.
And that goes back to what we were saying at the beginning. If we only do one type of movement, sit, mobile, just move our wrists and our elbows for 12 hours a day, and then when you go to attempt to move that desk, your body's going to let you know, hey, you haven't done anything with me in the past 12 hours. I don't like you. I hate your guts. Snap, crack, pop, and there goes the injury.
And this is just, again, an overview of, again, they need to be both, but in a perfect world, this is the ideal platform for when we move dynamically. So when we're doing anything that requires movement. And if you notice here, there's just a pattern is what I really wanted to highlight, is that anytime we have a mobile joint, so let's go ankles, it's supported by two stable structures above and below it. Okay, so same thing through your mid back. You want your shoulders and your rib cage, your mid back to be able to be mobile, to be able to rotate as you're reaching back to discipline your kids in the back seat, right? But then it's organized by two stable joints above and below it to help allow it to move. And if you don't have either the mobility here or the joints above and below are super mobile and this is really, really stable and rigid, we have injury here. Oh, my back. Oh, my mid back. Oh, my neck. Something goes wrong. Okay.
Parents, just throw something at the kid. That's what you need to
Throw it
do,
over your shoulder.
right? That solves everything. But we're really focused on trying to maintain strength and stability throughout all of these components, all of these joints. That is the key. Okay. And this is what governs our principles at base.
Also, side note, like,
Go ahead.
if you don't know, manual medicine clinician, that's the term we use, but we're both chiropractors by designation. We both take a very much like a movement-based approach, just because in our experience, the hands-on stuff is great. It's something that will never be replaced by AI, the hands-on stuff, but it is one aspect of our profession, and we believe that if you educate people on how to move and why to move and really work on improving their movement plus the manual hands-on care is really the cheat code to getting people stronger, more mobile, to be able to do the things that they want for longevity, and then add on those conversations of nutrition, sleep, hydration, like that's our well-rounded approach. I just wanted to take a little step back there before we got into this, but go ahead.
Absolutely. So these are the principles that guides building an athletic structure for exercise: mobility, stability, and strength. Now, mobility in the specific type of movement that we are prescribing is rotational. And I'm going to date myself here for a second, but there was a time where rotation in a loaded position was not good. And this is before Instagram and all this other fancy tech stuff. But we were just having conversations in boardrooms where rotation of the spine was bad. You didn't want to tell your patients to do it. But think about it, like, that's silly. There's so much rotation in every aspect of movement. And as you're trying to discipline your children when you're driving, you have to rotate your upper body and your mid back. So it was foolish to even have that thought process. With regards to stability, most injuries happen from some form of force coming lateral to the body. It's just the way that our bodies have been designed over time through evolution, where we only have minimal amount of protective tissue on the lateral aspect of our body. Henceforth, why we need to work on stability in the frontal plane or the side-to-side direction. And then lastly, strength is moving forward and backward. This plane specifically, we know that most individuals train what they see. You never see anyone going into the gym backwards. But you always see someone in the gym doing some bicep curls, some bench press, some shoulder overhead press, because they want everything in the front to look great and they potentially ignore things in the back. But it also makes sense for us to focus our strength on this plane, because this is what's going to allow us to run away from dinosaurs and lions that were chasing us way back in early evolution. So it just makes sense why most of our muscles that are super strong, super powerful, that push us into gait and running is in this sagittal plane. All right, we're going to do a little exercise here. And the idea behind this exercise is we want you to feel what we do when we coach people. There's
And can I, out of everyone, who's our demographic here? Like, are we mostly like working from a desk? Or are we?
Mostly everybody here is either a business owner and work from home, or at a desk all day long, or
Okay, so this is perfect, because when I coach clients that work from home or that are quite sedentary for, like, let's say, like, you have 8 hours in your main chunk of your day, and you're sitting for the majority of it, I'm not a big stickler on posture. I don't care what posture that you're sitting in. You could be working from your bed, you could be working from the kitchen counter, but what I'm most concerned about is how long you're in each position for. That is more important than the type of posture that you're in. Okay, you can sit with this really round back, you can be standing, you can be laying on the floor. It just matters how long you're in each position for. So one way you can break up that position is obviously getting up, walking around. But another way that you can help your body if you are tied to the desk and you can't move is just a simple way of creating tension. And this can be applied, yes, when you're working from home, you're on the computer, just to help give you that boost, to help you communicate with the system of your nervous system, your muscles, everything all together. But this can also be something that can be applied when you are in the gym, when you want to feel more connected, when you want to connect the foot right up to the hip. This is a really great skill to practice and learn and implement into your day-to-day, just to help increase strength, mobility, and stability.
And it's actually based off of S&C principles, where if you want to increase the neural input on muscle tissue, you want to have the tissue be under tension. The buzzword or the buzz phrase on Instagram right now is time under tension. How much time under tension will you have on the muscle tissue, the tendon tissue, the ligament tissue, even the nerve tissue? That is what's going to increase the capacity for it to be able to generate more force. Okay, so keep that in mind. So here is how we do that. This is what we call the athletic base stance. And just what does this look like? What movement is this preparing the body to do? To push off, to run, to walk. So what we are emphasizing here is, in this position, we can create an excessive amount of force and tension throughout the body, starting from the ground up. Okay? And this position is no different from getting ready to run for that bus, getting to run after your kids, getting to run to dinner, whatever it may be. But here's the challenge, and here's a clinical antidote, where I had a patient of mine who's a good friend who has been inconsistent with his physical activity. And as a result, he started becoming a little bit more active, but he went from 0 to 100. And within that workout of 100, he was doing some jumping, forward jumping, backwards jumping, and he did that movement earlier that morning. And then he got dressed for work, decided to take the GO train to work that day, and got into this position on the left and had the leg that was back like this loaded to push off to run, and tore his Achilles tendon. And why did that happen? Why does any injury happen? Injury happens when tissue is not able to handle load. when the tissue capacity exceeds, when the load exceeds the tissue capacity, this is when the injury occurs. So if my friend had been putting his tissue under tension regularly, the tendon, specifically the Achilles tendon, would not have ruptured in this simple position. So we have to do things with the body to prepare it to do things with the body. It's as simple as that. Okay? And if you have the ability to stand up right now, we would love to coach you through this movement. All right? So push your desk away. I want you just to stand up. You're going to separate your feet. You're going to get into a staggered stance, just like how we are right now in the image. You're going to have either your right foot forward or your left foot back. And I actually want you to stand with the back foot lowered to the ground. Have it lowered. Don't start in the position that I am in there. Okay, that back leg, I want you to raise the heel. And on that front leg, I want you to feel your feet. Just feel your feet. Just scan it. See what it feels like. And the back foot, you're obviously, the heel's off the ground. So now you're going to just scan the front part of your foot. So what I want you to emphasize and feel here are your toes. What are your toes doing? Are they clenching the ground? Or are you feeling the pads of your toes? I don't want them to clench. We don't want this. We just want them to be relaxed, flat onto the ground. And then from this position, I want you to drive your front foot into the ground. I want you to imagine a triangle on the bottom of your foot. So the top inside part is where your big toe is. And then when you go across, it's going to be the outside part. And then when you come down, it's going to be your heel. Feel all three of those points. Drive that foot into the ground. With regards to the back foot, it's just going to be, yes, Megan, we're going to pause.
Yeah, I was just wondering, should I feel this in my knees or is that not the correct posture?
You should feel it everywhere.
So the goal is, we're working right from the feet right now, but again, the goal is this. We're trying to create as much tension as we can, and we're starting with the feet and we're gonna work all the way up. When Dr. J's done doing this standing, I wanna take you guys through this sitting as well, so that you just have an appreciation of how much can I squeeze every single muscle in my body to help support this stance. So yes, to feel it in your knees, it's totally normal. Unless it's like, you don't want to feel any sharp pain, but you feel some work.
Yeah, cool, thanks.
So that back foot now, you're driving that front part of your toe, just the top part of the triangle, also into the ground. Now I want you to start squeezing your leg muscles, the lower leg muscles, the front leg muscles, your quads, your hamstrings, your butt. Tighten up your stomach. Squeeze your mid back. And now get your arms in that running position. If your right foot is forward, your left arm is forward and your right arm is back. Squeeze all of those muscles together, and I'm going to count to 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Okay? What did that do? It let every muscle know in your body, joints included, tendons included, that you're still alive, that you still have the ability to control your muscles. So if you're sitting at the desk, Ivan, chopping up this video, and you need a little release because you're frustrated with how many times I've been calling out your name and you want to cut out that part of the video, stand up, get into the stance, contract all your muscles, just get a little bit of engagement, and your body just feels, you tell me, what does your body feel like now?
Well, I'm surprised that I feel a bit in my lower back. I mean, obviously my legs and feet, right? But even my lower back, I thought, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
We are engaging and plugging in our nervous system. The best way I like to describe this is if you have a room in your house and it's dark and your partner says, hey, go to IKEA and get a lamp. You go to IKEA, you suffer through that, put the lamp in the car. Does the room have light yet? No, because you know with IKEA, you got to put that damn lamp together. So you take the lamp out the car, you put it together. Does the room have light yet? No. You got to put a light bulb in. Light bulb's in. What do you need to do next? You got to plug it in. Still you don't have light. The next step is to flick the switch. So what we just did there is we flicked the switch of your subsystem because we were actively and intently engaging each muscle tissue as well as creating more force, more tension. Okay? Go ahead with the seated version.
I want to take you guys through this sitting as well. Again, I work with a lot of clients who work from a desk, and some, yes, they can get up. Others, they cannot get up within like 8 hours. They're tied to the computer. So this is something that I like to give them. And again, this is the goal, okay? Creating that tension. So I want everyone just to sit at the edge of their chair, and it's the same sort of concept. So we're gonna start with the feet. I want everyone to lift their toes up as high as they can. Keep the balls of the feet on the floor. Spread the toes as wide as you can, and then place them right back down. So you should have a really nice solid base of support. So again, that triangle, your big toe, your pinky toe, and your heel, I just want you to feel equal pressure in that triangle of both feet. Okay, so there's some pushing down of your feet into the floor. Okay, you're gonna try to squeeze your calf muscles. I want you to try to squeeze your thigh muscles. Imagine there's a block in between your two knees, and I want you to try to squeeze the object between your legs. So you should feel some muscles in your inner thigh squeeze. I want to see if you can squeeze your bum. I almost want you to feel like you're going to stand up. So I want you to push down into the floor like you're going to stand up. Your legs should be on. You're going to make fists. They're going to be right by your side. You're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Squeeze your fists. And again, you're trying to create tension. Can you squeeze your biceps? Can you squeeze your triceps here? Can you squeeze your shoulder blades? Think about pulling the head off of your shoulders, okay? So you're reaching your head up towards the ceiling. Your feet are pressing down into the floor. We're gonna count to 4 here. Big inhales through the nose, out through the mouth. 3, 2, squeezing everything as hard as we can, and 1, and relax. Okay, how did we feel there? Did we feel like we could squeeze all of the things that I was coaching you through?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That felt great.
Good.
Ivan, how did that feel on your lower back that time?
Yeah, that's good. It's good. It's good.
Better on the back, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Again, creating tension. We're getting all of the subsystems of the body. So we obviously have our bones, we have our ligaments and connective tissue, we have our muscle tissue, and then we have our nervous system tissue, right? So this is our way to communicate with the entire system in a simple way that doesn't require you to leave what you are doing, that can still help with strength, that can still help, even I say it helps with brain fog and fatigue. It should just give you that little boost of energy because you are creating the energy, right? All right. Anyway.
Just wanted to highlight a couple of things here. What we are focusing on with that front foot on the ground is creating a strong arch. Okay, having a strong arch is what will allow your body to communicate with the ground, and we communicate with the ground every time that we walk. And if we are not training our arch, there could be times where when our foot does contact the ground, it's not prepared to do so. So this exercise, yes, it increases tension on muscles, it talks to the nervous system, but it also strengthens the framework, and the framework includes the arch of the foot. All right? Okay, this is a question that we ask our clinicians and coaches when we meet with them in person and or virtually like this. And the question is, what is the goal of interventions? Interventions is our language we use for treatment, for therapy. Let's have some dialogue. What do you think the goal of our interventions are as manual medicine clinicians? And it doesn't even matter if you're a manual medicine clinician, to be honest with you. This includes holistic nutritionists as well. This includes RMTs, dietitians, the good ones, physiotherapists. But I would like to hear what you think the goal of intervention/treatments are. Anyone?
Well, I figure that intervention is when you interrupt a pattern to change the direction of or the trajectory where someone's going.
Love it. Love it, Ivan. That's great input. Anyone else?
Megan said help people be the best versions of themselves. I like that too.
Love that too.
Let's get right into it.
Veronica, what do you think? Ooh, I was going to ask Veronica.
Sorry,
All good.
Veronica,
It's
saved
okay.
ya.
Well,
No,
here's
I want to hear what Veronica wants to say too.
Veronica. What do you think?
You there?
What the goal of interventions is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of don't love that term because intervention kind of puts a negative spin on it, and you're assuming you're fixing something that's wrong. And while that might be true, it's not always the case, right?
I like that.
That's fair.
I like that.
And I love the fact that you said what you feel, and that's okay. And the reason why we use that term is because we look at interventions in two ways. It's either passive or dynamic. That movement series that you just did there would be what we call a dynamic intervention. A passive intervention would be more of us providing manual therapy with our hands and or with acupuncture. But regardless of we want to call it treatment, therapy, intervention, the number one goal of it is to modulate the nervous system and communicate with the nervous system. Either tell the nervous system to engage more or tell it to engage less.
And none of us are, like, again, not a neuroscientist, not expecting anybody else to be neuroscientists, but if you think we have a brain, we have a spinal cord. That is our control, like that is what makes us human beings, functional human beings, is the control center of our entire body. So regardless of what you do, if it's, I'm going to go for my 12,000 steps in the morning, that's modulating the nervous system.
Absolutely.
I'm going to eat a healthy, balanced diet today. What's the goal of that? Is to modulate the nervous system, allow the nervous system to function at its optimal health, to allow everything else, the muscles, the ligaments, like our thoughts, everything to be better and to be communicated to in order to function optimally or just function at all, right?
And the real awesome aspect about the human body is that it knows what to do, right? We as humans, we know what we need to do. But there are certain things within our life, North American life, modern life, that prevent the body from doing what it needs to do. And if we, as manual medicine clinicians, as holistic nutritionists, coaches, if we recognize the value in our delivery of care, we can help our patients understand this better, and it'll make our jobs a lot easier. And that is the main reason, Veronica, why we chose to use the word intervention, because it doesn't just involve a passive form of care. It has to involve some form of dynamic modality as well. And I believe intervention captures that the best.
Yeah.
I've used intervention in the term food as well, like food intervention instead of like a diet. Do you know what I mean? Because the moment you hear the word diet, you're like, oh, what am I not allowed to eat?
What am I going to die? What am I going to die from?
I don't want to give up my favorite coffee crisp. Sorry, Michael. You're being... I understand that. But no, the word intervention is right in my mind as well. Because it's like Megan actually said in the comments, she said, help people be the best versions of themselves.
I love that.
I really love
and
that.
I love that. And even if we go back to this, like our goal is to modulate the nervous system. If you, again, for all the non-practitioners in the room, if you wake up every morning, you're feeling groggy, you're feeling slow, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling pain, aches, like you know that what you need to do, your intervention, you know you need to change or modulate or communicate the nervous system in order to make lasting change. Like if you're feeling achy, sore, groggy, all of those things every day, and you just go, for example, and get a massage. I'm not knocking on massage. Massage is great. But if there's underlying things like your nutrition, like your sleep, like your stress, like your movement that aren't being addressed, and you are just going to get a passive intervention, so just going to lay on a table and get rubbed for an hour, yes, you're communicating to the nervous system, but not in a way that it's going to make lasting change. Yes, that could be a good start, but you need to address the rest of those pillars that we talked about at the beginning in order to truly communicate with the nervous system. Like, you need to be the person that actually says, okay, I'm going to do my 12,000 steps before 9 a.m. I'm going to eat a fruit or a vegetable with every single meal that I have. Like, it's the active changes that you do every day that are going to really imprint on your nervous system to make that lasting change.
Yeah, that's why as nutritionists, we're all about like doing the whole, because I, like my mom, who is a mental health counselor, me as a nutritionist, you guys doing like functional, like the exercise. I don't like, I like incorporating all three, because if you just do one of them, it's a band-aid to a bullet wound is what I usually say.
Exactly. And this is how we as manual medicine clinicians do this. So how we modulate the nervous system. One, it's that whole system perspective conversation. So every client that we have, we're talking about those 4 pillars. My initial assessment is an hour and 30 minutes. We're talking about everything. We're talking about your sleep. We're talking about what are you stressed about. We're talking about how you eat, how you move, how often, how it feels. All of this stuff matters because, again, like Lindsay said, I can't just give you one best exercise to fix everything. If someone comes in and they're extremely high stress and they're not sleeping, what is one exercise going to do? I have to help them address that first, and then we can layer on movement and other tips to help guide them along this path. Manual medicine is a great way to modulate the nervous system. Again, that's using our hands, that's soft tissue therapy, that's mobilizations, getting the joints moving a little better. Both Dr. J and I are licensed in neurofunctional acupuncture, so we use a lot of that in our practice. And then again, this last piece of that exercise, prescription, and performance care, this in combination with all of the 3 other things really is the cheat code to getting people to doing whatever the hell they want to do in a pain-free manner.
What I really want to just highlight here is that first component, the conversations. It doesn't matter if you're a clinician or a coach, even as an entrepreneur, whatever you're selling, you got to think about this. If you get on a call with a potential client and all you're saying is, my costs are, I'm the best, $2,000, $500, all you're doing is talking about numbers, you've lost that client. That client is not interested in working with you because all you're thinking about and looking at them as is a dollar.
So you need to know what they need.
Yeah, we need to customize, personalize their experience, and we need to do a better job of that as entrepreneurs, no matter what industry that you're in. Take the time to care about the person that you are working with and or for, because it will go a long way, because they will go and tell someone else. I had an amazing experience with Coach Lindsay. She actually cared about what I needed to do to make myself a better version of myself. And that's very important. Don't gloss over that. Okay, we have requirements of the human body, and the way that we view this is dependent upon the exercise prescription and the performance. So there's 2 ways that we do this. We utilize movement, of course, to challenge the body, and we also use it to assess what the body can do. Stimulus that challenges the system, we're talking about strength, of course, mobility, stability, balance, and coordination. We use a movement series called Flow. And if any of you are on Instagram, which I hope you all are, you can follow us at __base, B.A.se, and you can see this movement series where we walk you through how to do it. And if anyone is interested in moving with more confidence, this is the start of it. It's a series of movements that maybe you can do 1 or 2 of them, and there's an issue with the 3rd and 4th. We will be able to provide regressions of that once you learn about our systems. Second thing is breathing. Interestingly enough, everyone thinks they can breathe. But when you start focusing on your breathing, you notice that you're having some challenges. Breathing is a tool to regulate and relax the system. We utilize that very much in our system. And we also make the connection between your breathing and your feet. We can take a look at your foot posture and the way that it stands, and we can determine what type of breather you are. It's quite fascinating, and it just reiterates the point that everything in the human frame is connected. And it gives us clues as to how, as manual medicine clinicians and coaches, how to address it. And that's what's really cool about the requirements of the human body. And if you take a look at the food and the hydration, it's the same concept. We need food as a requirement for the human body. However, there are certain foods that produce inflammation to the human frame. We know what these things are. We know that it tastes damn good too. But we have to make sure that, to recognize that we cannot consume high amounts, of these types of food. We have to use food as a tool to regulate and support the body. And that is obviously the structures on the left. No, I'm just joking, on the right. Okay. We, as entrepreneurs, as manual medicine clinicians, as holistic nutritionists, we have to explicitly know what the intent of our interventions are, our interactions with our patients, our clients. And for us, it's always the base program. We want to create stability, we want to have a solid foundation, and we want to create resilient humans. And the best way for us to do that is with professional and personal development on ourselves. We have to make sure that we're taking the time to take care of ourselves. And sometimes, full transparency, we get into work mode. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, Claire looked at me and she said, all we do is work. And I said, okay, no work for today. We put it away, and what did we do? You remember?
Biked all day.
We went for a bike ride all day. And and here's the funny thing about it. Anytime we stopped to take a little water break, guess what she wanted to talk about? Work. And I had to remind her, we're not talking about work.
All right, we're moving on.
You move that one away for a second.
Moving on.
Moving on. But in all seriousness, we got to make sure that we create intention in everything that we do, because it will guide how we deliver our service. And here's just a simple image that I love having on every presentation that we offer to individuals, and it's to say simply this: we love puzzles. As entrepreneurs, we love puzzles. As clinicians, we definitely love puzzles. As holistic nutritionists, we love puzzles. And every single patient is a puzzle. They are communicating different aspects of themselves for us to assist them in putting it back together. And again, as Veronica said, it's not to say that someone has a problem or that we're trying to fix or correct, but we're literally trying to help them align their image of themselves, their best version of themselves. And that's the reason why I really enjoy having this image as we wind down our presentation, because we want to be able to assist every single human that we meet in forming the best version of themselves and solving the puzzle.
All right, so a little plug here. We are both chiropractors. We both practice within the city. Myself, I'll send Lindsay in the group chat a link to our website, but I treat in the city. Joel does some strength and conditioning work. He also does work virtually if you are not in the city. We also offer a certification course. Again, our course base is on the foot and the ankle. It's offered at George Brown College. So if you know any trainers, coaches, clinicians that you think might be interested in learning more about the foot and the ankle to help mitigate lower limb injury, to help enhance performance, please do send them our way. We are accredited by all of these different organizations. And yeah, that is everything. We have the floor is yours to ask any questions, regardless of like anything to do with the presentation, what we do for work, how we may be able to help you, all of those things.
I do have a question. Why specifically the foot and ankle?
I love that you asked that
Such a good question.
That's a great question. So it's Teresa, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Teresa? In 2017, I had a practice out in Scarborough, and at that time, I found myself with a barrage of referrals for ankle injuries, and I was wondering why. The reason why I was wondering this is because it presented pretty standard in terms of the type of injury, but the recovery time was prolonged for some strange reason. And some of these referrals were from other chiros, some sport docs, other massage therapists. I took a very simple approach, something that we just did with that athletic base stance, communicated to the nervous system, restored strength, stability, and mobility, and sent the person along their way. Some years passed. 2020, something happened. We were all inside our homes for an extended period of time. And then the world opened up, and my clinic practice opened up as well. And during that first 6 months of that weird time in the world, I had over 23 patients present to my office with an Achilles tendon rupture. Some of them were professional athletes. Some of them were day-to-day athletes. I hope everyone remembers what that is. And they all presented with a full rupture Achilles tendon. So I, being an inquisitive young man, decided to just do some reading and some research and try to understand why. And what I discovered was, specifically within my education, that the foot and the ankle was only taught to us in what we would say a structural manner. Memorize these bones, memorize these ligaments, and that's it. But then as I was reading and as I was experiencing these live cases, I discovered and understood that there's so much more to the foot and ankle that affects everything above.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely like an overlooked aspect of not just our education, but in everyday life. Like even with my patients and clients, I work at an all women's gym, and I think especially women, because we're just so go, and we're thinking about all the other things. And I notice it even in training, that when I can get people to really connect and focus with their foot and the ankle, everything else follows with ease.
And if you think about our feet, it allows us to move. It allows us to contacts the ground. It's the only thing that contacts the ground first, and it's the last thing to contact the ground as we move forward. And Ivan didn't pay him any money to say this, obviously, but he noticed that he had engagement in his lower back. That tells me a lot. That tells us a lot. That tells us that there is a lumbopelvic weakness that he needs to focus on. And it starts with him engaging his feet more. Like we just ignore our foot to the point where we shove it in socks, we shove it in shoes. Sometimes the shoes aren't the ideal for our feet, especially here in Canada, where we always have to protect our feet from the elements. But if you think about evolution in general, we started to walk upright, depending upon what you believe, because of food. We had to migrate and move along the earth to find more access to food. And then when we found the access to food, some of it was higher, so we had to stand up. And that's literally what progressed us to be ambulatory on 2 feet.
So long-winded answer, but like because it's overlooked and it's important.
And I'm a nerd, and I just found it fascinating.
Well, I was gonna say, like, with our co-op and everything, I feel like that was the #1 injury with the Badgers, and even now I'm dealing with like major shin splints from a 5K run that I did 3 weeks ago. Okay,
I personally think lower limb injuries in the sport world is an epidemic right now, and there's not enough emphasis on it, and we hope to really change that.
Can we laugh about the fact that that's a TikTok thing, because men are always like working out their arms but never working out their legs? Question marks. So
got a bunch of 11s walking around.
Well, I was gonna suggest that we just do an in-person meet with you guys, where you just teach us how to like walk and exercise properly. So
great segue. We do have an 8-week program that we will be unveiling to support the health of humans with feet. And it's not nothing that it's everything. You will be able to do everything, and you'll be able to do everything with your equipment that you were born with. There is some pieces that we are working on that will support what we are doing, just to create more bias in certain forms of range of motion. But when we get this program unveiled, which we should be having it live by the end of this month, I really want to send it over your way, Lindsay, and I would love to see a handful of you in person, and there is a virtual component of it as well. But going back to Teresa, did that answer your question? Do you understand why we're so fascinated with the feet? We're not weird or anything like that. It's a real fascinating part of the body. I don't know if that's what you were alluding to, but did we answer your question is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you totally answered my question. I bring it up because in my past life, I did go through massage school, and we really did focus on the feet because the way they stand on the feet depends on what other muscles and ligaments in the body could be affected by that. And you can tell by the base. So you don't hear too many people really focused on that. So it's nice to see that you're focused on the base of our body, which is nice.
I love the use of the word base. Thank you.
Just keep using it. I also shared their Instagram, guys, if you want to follow them on Instagram as well in the chats. But any other questions for Dr. Claire or Dr. Joel? Anybody?
I do have one,
Yep.
of course. But since I feel like we know each other so well now, anyway.
Of course.
And that is that on Instagram, I see a lot of videos of people doing exercises just with their own arms, like flailing their arms around, or doing kind of push-ups with where they're thrusting forward, and all these different things, so using no weights. How important is weight, using weights for being healthy?
Great question, and I'll give the answer that my daughter despises the most, and it depends. It depends because remember the spectrum that remember the two domains of movement that we have categorized as in our interventions. It's either reconditioning or performance. So right now on Instagram, to get your attention, everyone is focused on performance. The sexy exercises, shirt off, muscles glossed up, steroids-filled bodies, arms flailing all over the place. Everything just looks explosive. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side of that is the reconditioning stage.
It's what they don't show.
Where you don't show, because it's slow, it's boring, and to be honest with you, it's painfully hard because it's deliberate, it's intentional. So it depends on where you are with your fitness and health journey.
And I also think, going back, like, to answer the question, weights are important, but I want you to think of it more as, like, reframe it and think of resistance. Like, your body weight, depending on where you are at in your journey, may be enough of a resistance right now.
Absolutely.
Even if people can lift a heavy amount of weight, sometimes they can't even lift their body weight, right? So having some resistance on your system, on your muscles, on your nerves, on your ligaments is beneficial, and it is necessary. So we need to be providing resistance to our system. It could be body weight right now, depending on where you're at. For your back, right now, I would do some body weight stuff, but then eventually that's going to get easy. So then you need to add an external resistance, like weights. And again, it doesn't have to be, I'm only going to do body weight until it feels easy, and then I'm going to do resistance. It can always be a mix of the both, right? We exist on a spectrum. And again, it could be both, but resistance is necessary for overall health. Absolutely.
Resistance is necessary for you to build neural adaptations. You cannot sit in your office chair and imagine that you're doing the exercise and it will work.
And expect to get stronger.
You have to do the work. You have to stress the nervous system. And your body weight is great for that. And starting with push-ups. I prescribe push-ups to everyone. Doesn't matter if you are a professional athlete or a non-athlete. You should be able to get down on the ground and push yourself from the ground up. And we're not going to categorize any push-up as modified or girl push-ups, none of that nonsense. Start with your feet off the ground, lower yourself to the ground, and push yourself back up. So this idea that Lindsay has for us to get together and do some exercise,
I'd love to do that.
we'd love to do that.
Because it
If you
also
guys are
goes-
down, we can make it happen.
It also goes off of like the coaching cues, right? Like
Absolutely.
that tension exercise that we practice, like that's resistance.
Mhm.
And if you could just do a squat and you could perform the squat really well. But if you perform the squat with some of those cues that we talked about, like driving your feet into the ground, squeezing your inner thighs, pushing the floor away from you, like really creating as much tension as you can, that is more resistance than you just doing the movement mindlessly.
There's a lot of power in non-equipment exercising, okay? Like the runnings, the push-ups, the like squats, the crunches. Like you could do a lot from home, okay? This is gonna sound horrible. I don't have a gym membership, okay? I do a lot of working out and I do not have a gym membership currently right now. That'll change in the future, of course. But I feel like there's a lot of pressure on like what you guys said, the sexy workout of like lifting that dumbbell like above your head that is like double your weight and stuff like that. That is fine if you're comfortable and gotten to that point in your life, but that's also a lot of possible injury on your body as well, unfortunately, if you're not trained properly to do that. So I always say start small in the beginning
Work
and
small,
stuff
work
like
within
that.
your
Work
capacity.
within your capacity.
Yes.
Does that answer your
Yeah.
question, Heather? Kind of.
Sorry.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And Lindsay, definitely let's chat about setting something up that we can get together and do something. We have to find a location for it. But I'm in 100%.
Happy to.
For sure. If there's no other questions, we're going to get into the fun topic of nutrition when it comes to sports now. But I do want to thank you guys as well for coming on. I hope you stick around for my portion because it's going to be fantastic about food and what's going to help when you injuries and all that stuff. So
Is it recorded, Lindsay?
it is recorded.
Will you send it?
Yeah, will you send it to us? But before we jump off, if you don't mind,
Yep.
everyone, I really just want to thank you for your attention. Number one, we would love to be a resource to you for all things of the foot, Teresa, as well as the rest of your body. And then I just am really impressed with Coach Lindsay, to be honest with you, because our encounter this past year was with the CEBL, the Honey Badgers, and it is a hectic ride of sports and basketball. And I felt sometimes that I wasn't able to give her as much attention and support as possible. And I'm just honored that I made a good enough impression with my approach to MSK, sports injury, that she felt comfortable for me to want to stay connected. And I'm honored, Coach Lindsay. I've always told you that you are really great at what you do, and it starts because of your passion. And you were able to help a lot of these young men that are struggling with trying to be an adult and eat like an adult. And I'm really, really thankful for this opportunity, and I'll speak on behalf of my wife and my business partner. And I feel like this is just the beginning of a long professional relationship. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you again. Me and Jay have definitely had some wild rides when it came to the Honey Badgers. Nothing short of excitement, that's for sure. But I was always thankful for everything that Dr. Jay taught me, even Dr. Claire and everything as well. You guys you're the perfect team. If you can work with your partner, that's the true test. Ivan understands because he also works with his wife as well. But no, thank you so much for coming on today, honestly, because it has been a wild ride. It just feels like we just started like in May with the Honey Badgers. And now that it's October, I'm like, where did it all go? So I definitely want to encourage an in-person event in the future. We'll definitely coordinate something. If you guys, we have a Facebook group too, so I'll share that with you guys as well, that you are more than welcome to share as much information into. We have a lot of members in there and stuff. But
Amazing. Yeah.
thank you
Well, stay
again.
connected. Please send us. We gotta go, but please send us
Yes.
the recording. We'll watch it.
Yes.
All right. Take care,
Thank you.
everybody.
Have a
Thank
good day,
you.
guys. Now,
Bye.
everybody else, stick around for some nutrition and sports. Okay, so let's dive right into that. Veronica, I added one extra slide during this whole time. Sorry,
no
I'm trying to
worries.
figure out where the heck it
Added
went. Oh,
value.
that's why, because I have their Instagram pulled up. So, okay, let's dive right into some fun topics of food. So, I'm going to do slideshow mode. Okay. What is the single greatest tool for improving your athletic performance? Wasn't in the gym, but was actually in your kitchen. Okay. Yeah, obviously, we just did an amazing presentation with Dr. J and Dr. Claire and everything like that. But I also want to highlight what they were reinforcing about nutrition being a key. So let's dive right in. Veronica, I'll take away this one. Okay. Macros. You may have heard the word come up a little bit more than average, but when I say macros, I mean protein, carbs, and fats. Okay. These are all the things that we eat in the day. Okay. It falls into one of these categories other than water, but when we think about protein, we're obviously on a very high trend right now of high protein meals. It is pretty common in most of us that we don't eat enough protein in our daily diet. So that's why this protein craze of like Starbucks, Tim Hortons, snack foods, they're all trying to promote high protein as it is your biggest source for recovery, but also it promotes energy as well. But when I talk to an athlete, I'm always saying carbs before a meal, before a workout, and protein after, because protein is going to promote the recovery aspect of your working out. So, when we talk about proteins, we obviously think of like meats like chicken, fish, salmon, tuna, beef, eggs, dairy. But for a vegan or a vegetarian, that might be legumes, tofu, quinoa, or even some pea protein powders as well. So just don't think that because you're vegan, you're not getting any protein. Protein is in everything. Of course. Go ahead, Veronica.
Just to point out, with protein powders, it's always important to look at what they're getting the protein from. Lindsay and I
Yep.
had this discussion earlier today. A lot of them are whey isolate, but whey isolate is actually not quite vegan, not even necessarily quite vegetarian. So it's you can get pea protein, you can get pumpkin seed protein. That's my favorite. You can get there's a great number of types of protein out there. Just make sure you're getting the one that's going to get you closest to your goals. And if you need help with that, just talk to either Lindsay or I. We can help you.
Exactly. Thank you, Veronica. Let's talk about carbs. We all love them. Pastas, oats, rice. But vegetables are carbs too, people. I know we don't think about it as such, but carbs promote the energy. If you feel like you're in a slump, you're just so lack of energy and such like that, carbs are the key. Okay. This is why when it came to the athletes at the Honey Badgers, I was constantly telling them, you need to eat a lot of carbs before you go out on the court. Otherwise, you're going to hit a slump towards the end of the game. So that's another reason why I said complex versus simple, because complex are the oats, the brown rice, the sweet potatoes, versus the simples, which are like the fruits, the honey, the sports drinks. They're okay. They're just not gonna like promote the long-term energy, okay? Which is why I said complex carbs are key, as they don't give you that like downwards crash. They stay stable throughout your entire performance. And then of course, fats, we always think, oh, I don't need a lot of fats. They're bad for you. Fats are essential for brain development, for muscle relaxation, for lubricating your joints. They are crucial. That's why they are a support. Okay. So when we think of fats, we think of avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil, fish. Okay. That is the category we probably don't hit as much in the day, but we are only allocated in our macros a tiny amount of that in a day because it's harder for us to digest in our system. Okay. So just consider that when it comes down to macros. Now, this is a lot, and I know we don't have a lot of time, but I want to promote green vegetables as well. When it comes to athletes and athletic performance, it is crucial for you to eat green vegetables. Okay. If we're lacking in iron, for example, green leafy vegetables like spinach, chard, kale are all plant-based sources of that. And athletes, especially female and endurance athletes, are at a higher risk for iron deficiency, which can lead to fatigue, reduced work capacity, and poor performance. The other reason why we eat green vegetables is for folate, which is vitamin B9 to most of you. Uh, why it matters to eat folate is essential for production of new cells, including red blood cells. It also plays a role in converting carbohydrates into usable energy. So a deficiency could lead to fatigue or anemia as well. And then calcium, which is what we always talk about. Many people think only of dairy when we think of calcium, but collards, greens, kale, bok choy all have high sources of calcium in them as well, which is vital for that, what Dr. J was saying, bone density, which is crucial for sports. It's also essential for your nerve signal transmission and initiating muscle contractions.
Broccoli
And
has a
then
notable amount too.
exactly. And then antioxidants in leafy greens, artichokes, broccoli. Those are exercise produces free radicals which cause cellular damage, okay? And antioxidants neutralize these free radicals, protecting them and reducing muscle damage and minimizing post-exercise soreness. So eating the greens after also great. So they provide the essential micronutrients that build the foundation for energy, strength, and endurance. So please, please, please start eating more greens because we lack them all. Okay, guys? And I just gave you a bunch, so no excuses. There's lots here. So you can go ahead, Veronica, your turn.
This is kind of one of my areas of specialty. Dealing with inflammation is something that everyone has to deal with. And there's a couple foods out there that are really good for kind of getting that inflammation down. So spices like turmeric, which is incidentally the #1 anti-inflammatory food, but also ginger root, cinnamon, cayenne pepper, cloves, black pepper. These are all spices you can add to any dish that are going to bring down the inflammatory effect. Things like omega-3s, so cold water fish like salmon, sardines, things like chia seeds or walnuts. These are great for brain health. They're great because omega-3s are one of the options for what builds the membrane of your cells. So I don't know about you guys, but when my body is grabbing at things to build those cell membranes, I don't want it to grab at trans fats and gross stuff like that. I want it to grab at things like omega-3s because that's a way healthier option. The other important thing to remember about if you want to eat a more anti-inflammatory diet is antioxidants and polyphenols. So things like berries, dark leafy greens, especially spinach and kale, beets, dark chocolate is a notable source of antioxidants and polyphenols. So don't go nuts, get the good quality stuff, but it's good just to know that because technically dark chocolate, when prepared properly, is a vegetable. It comes from the cocoa bean.
I love that. Chocolate is a vegetable.
It
Say
comes from the
less.
cocoa bean. I can stand by, I have science to back that up.
I actually gave a lot of the athletes from the Honey Badgers chocolate after their workout, like just a
Yep.
small amount, nothing too crazy. And they were like, and I put berries and salt, and they would get their electrolytes. They would get more antioxidants from the
They
berries,
get the
and they
magnesium.
devour it. That's also why I gave it to them as well, to promote relaxation so that they could
Yep.
go to sleep, because a lot of athletes don't sleep very well, shockingly. So I'm promoting you guys to eat a square of dark chocolate after a workout or right before you go to bed to promote relaxation. Okay?
Emphasis on the quality.
Certified nutritional practitioner seal right there on the chocolate. So you can cover this one now too.
Yay, my favorite mineral. Magnesium is something that literally almost everyone is deficient in. It used to be that we would get enough through our foods decades ago, but our food system is so depleted of nutrients that you're missing a lot of the crucial ones, and magnesium is one of them. So it has a couple key roles. It's involved in energy production, so it's essential for the creation of ATP, which is basically the currency your body uses for energy. So the more ATP you have, the more energy you have. It's also good for muscle function. It allows your muscles to contract and relax. A deficiency in magnesium can actually lead to cramps and spasms. It's not fun. Nervous system regulation and sleep. It calms the nervous system, which is crucial for recovery and sleep quality. So having what my personal trick to get enough magnesium in is at about 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, I have a handful, so say 9 to 12 almonds, or just raw almonds. And that is enough magnesium to kind of ease me into my sleep cycle. And it's very, very nice. But other food sources include things like pumpkin seeds, spinach, avocado, dark chocolates there again, bananas, great source of magnesium. And all of these things will increase that lack your body has for this mineral.
Yes, and I feel like one of the biggest things that I used to same thing for magnesium as well, tart cherry juice.
Oh yeah.
That you might have heard a craze on it because a lot of people are like drinking it right before they go to sleep. I did the same thing again. I brought that for the athletes and they would just devour it before bed, okay? Obviously in moderation, guys, because it's really tart, okay? But if you just find that you're having a really hard time going to sleep, there's always that like comfort of like what we used to do as kids, like that warm milk before bed with maybe a little bit of cinnamon or cocoa powder. That promotes sleep as well, 1,000%. But you just need to find that thing for you that works. And magnesium, like Veronica said, is one of the biggest supplements that we don't eat enough of. So if you're like, oh, I don't know what else to eat for magnesium, there's charts out there everywhere, all over the internet. So thank you, Veronica. I'm going to cover this one. So electrolytes. Back to what like Dr. J was saying, water is key, but electrolytes are a big miss source. I can't tell you how many people I've said that, oh, I drink like my average water in the day, but I feel like I'm still so tired or achy or my brain hurts. It's because you're missing the one key component from it, which is the electrolytes. So minerals, electrolytes are basically minerals that carry an electric charge and are essential for bodily function. And so when we sweat, we're sweating out all that salt out of our system. Okay. That's why it creates that sulfur like smell on our body. So when we are working out, that's why Gatorades and like electrolyte drinks are so crucial to replenish that. And when unfortunately we drink water, a lot of the time we're not absorbing it. If you ever drank like a ton of water and then just immediately felt like you peed it out like an hour or two later. Yeah, it's because it's just not absorbed enough into your system. And then your body still thinks that you've got a lot of water, but it's because of the lack of absorption, it is just not doing anything for your body because it's not sticking to anything, unfortunately. So the main players in the roles when it comes to electrolytes are sodium. So that helps maintain fluid balance, critical for nerve function and muscle contraction. Potassium, that's when you hear of supplements, calcium, magnesium, potassium, those are the ones that you're most commonly taking. You just have to, that's why we're listing them all off, because sodium is for the fluid balance, potassium works with the sodium to manage the fluid balance and prevent cramping, and then the calcium is the muscle contraction and bone health. Okay. And that's why I said magnesium as well. It's so important. It needs to get mentioned twice. Okay. Obviously, electrolytes come in other things as well, other than water. So, like bananas, salted nuts, yogurt, leafy greens, hydration. Water is often for shorter workouts, but for longer sessions, we promote more electrolyte drinks or tabs. And then I even included at the bottom, if you want to take a screenshot of an electrolyte drink, which is just water, a simple splash of, say, orange or lemon juice, a pinch of sea salt, and then maple syrup or honey. Pure, keyword, not the crappy ones. But that in itself is an electrolyte drink, and you'd be surprised at how well it tastes. That was the drink from my school that we recommend. So, do you want to cover this recipe? This is the vegan one.
Yeah, sure. This is actually one of my favorite kinds of recipes. It's a great plant-based, I would call it a powerhouse recipe because it's packed with complete protein, complex carbs, healthy fats, and anti-inflammatory spices. All these work together to accelerate your recovery. So it's easy. You just get quinoa, vegetable broth, things like black beans, which are super high in protein, edamame again, things like sweet bell pepper, avocado, again, healthy fats, phytonutrients, pumpkin seeds, These are all great things, and it's really good because it gives you a diverse range of nutrients and they all have different effects. But then it's the turmeric ginger dressing that's going to rock you the most, I think, because you really need to try this. It's super tasty. Again, the amounts are variable. So if you want it to be a little bit more lemony, add some more lemon juice. If you want it to be a little bit sweeter, add a bit more maple syrup. But either way, it's as easy as just cooking the quinoa and then you mix it all with the components and make the dressing. It's very simple.
And look at what I added to the bottom. Your
Ooh,
macros.
nutrition info.
And if you decide to make this recipe, this is the easiest way to put it in, say, your macros app later on, okay? To keep an idea. And what were we talking about? High protein. So anything over 20 grams. This is 38 right here. This is like 2 meals right here in itself,
Yeah,
okay?
what's the serving size on that, Lindsay?
I can't remember. I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
That would be
But
something I want to know, just personally, because the serving
okay,
size really impacts. If you see something like 1,050 kcal, that's a big number.
of
So it's
course.
good to know what the serving size is that's associated with.
What?
So
You're adding all these little tiny things on. You are adding like a cup, and stuff like that. So you could definitely like meal prep this for the week for
yeah,
sure. There's a lot here, but I'll get that for you for sure.
thank you.
Okay, and then our final recipe, which I need to make this a little bit shorter. I don't know why I can't see the title of it because it just doesn't want me to. But yeah, so this one is a sheet pan meal. It is designed for maximum protein impact. Increasing the chicken portion and adding Greek yogurt sauce significantly boosts the protein content, making it an exceptional choice for muscle recovery and rebuilding. So this is as simple as you think it is. You're just basically heating up on a large sheet pan the like vegetables and stuff like that, roast the veggies, add the chicken, and basically it's like a one pan recipe basically. So you can make this tonight, you can make this probably tomorrow or on the weekends. I know it's Thanksgiving this weekend, but if you desire to take this recipe home with you, I always obviously post it online later on, but taking a picture right now, same thing again, high protein, 2 large chicken breasts. And with that Greek yogurt, it gives it that little extra push as well. And a good amount of fat and a good amount of carbs. Okay. So I'm just going to end it right here. How does everybody feel? A lot of information.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I love
Anybody have
the
any questions?
options that we have.
Pardon?
I love the options that you have for, the veggies and the proteins and all that stuff, which most people just think you get from meat. So it's good. It opens up the options that you can put into your meals.
There's actually a lot of non-meat sources of protein that have way more protein than any meat could ever dream of.
Yeah.
But
A
the other
vegan.
interesting thing to look at when you're looking at protein is meat sourcing. Wild meats like elk,
Yep.
deer, bear, they have way more protein than conventional farmed meats. So that would be a discussion that if any of you want to have, me or Lindsay would love to dive into that with you because
Oh, I would love that. Megan,
that's
you have
one
a
of my
question?
favorite conversations because people don't realize there's a lot of really good protein just out there in the wild.
For sure. Megan, you have a question?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was just gonna add on to what Veronica was saying about, well, actually, two things. First thing, I just donated blood over the weekend, and so definitely this like foods to get more iron would be great because I was a little bit low in my hemoglobin, which I know that those two are kind of connected. But going back to what Veronica was saying, I recently have started looking into more like pea protein, and I wanted to hear your guys' opinion on if it's a good source of protein. Is it a complete
Can I cover this one,
profile?
Veronica?
Absolutely.
So when it comes to pea protein, a lot of people actually don't digest peas as easy as other people, unfortunately. Whenever it comes down to what works for your body, always try things in their wholest forms, as Veronica calls us, holistic nutritionist, keyword the whole. Because the problem is when you start getting all these protein powders, you're just promoting the fact that it is a broken down version of food. Okay. And yes, of course, pea protein is the vegan alternative. I definitely recommended it to a lot of the athletes who just needed that extra boost because they were required to eat 5 meals a day. under my supervision. But I would just say if you're going to go towards pea protein, try to get the smallest size first. Try to get the one with the cleanest ingredients, aka the raw ones, the ones that are like not pumped with peanut butter or birthday cake
No.
nonsense. And see how your stomach reacts 4 to 6 hours after you have consumed it. Okay.
Right.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Veronica.
The other really interesting thing people don't seem to know when it comes to things like protein powders is you can make your own.
Yes.
Like I have gone to, there is in the Hamilton Farmers Market, there's a Latin grocery store, but you can get them from any Latin grocery store. There's dried black beans. A cup of dried black beans has an obscene amount of protein. You just literally chuck them in the food processor, grind them up into a powder. You have homemade protein powder. It
Yeah,
doesn't
okay.
actually have
I'm
much
actually
of a flavor.
I'm
Sorry?
actually experimenting right now with dried lentil
Yep,
powder.
love that too. I've done lentils,
I
I've done
have
black beans,
lentils.
I've done chickpeas.
Yep.
But it's
I have
like,
lentils sitting in my cupboard right now, and I'm going to dehydrate them and crush them into like a powder,
oh yeah,
basically, because lentils are a complex carbohydrate, by the way. So they
Yeah.
will also promote the
Chickpeas
carb
too.
and the protein part.
Chickpeas
Okay.
are as well. And
Yes.
it's really, if you like homemade protein powders versus store-bought, there's benefits to both of them, but I really believe that the homemade ones are just slightly better because you know every single thing that's going into that product.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. So Megan, you can even buy other than pea protein. There's what would we talk like? There's a pumpkin one.
Yep,
There's
pumpkin seed protein.
hemp
Mm.
protein. I'm allergic to hemp, so we learned that, Megan, together.
Oh yeah.
There's a really good vegan protein from Garden of Life.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Love theirs. It's really good. It doesn't taste bad at all, which is
Mm.
nice because protein powders are nefarious for having that kind of chalky taste.
Mm.
But the
Yeah.
Garden of Life one, I really like that. The other one that I really like is Iron Vegan, which
Mhm.
is a vegan source of protein. So it's ethically sourced. It's very high protein. It's really good.
Oh, wonderful.
So-
Okay, awesome.
Okay, I know you're asking for the John, so
I was actually asking for myself. I'll send you the one that I bought this morning. You'll be mad at me. It's like chai latte flavored, but I was just testing it out. It was on sale.
if it as an experimental one, try it.
Mm.
Give it the full effort and stuff like that. And then when you find out if you're more comfortable with it, you want to go towards like a healthier one or whatever, then we can have a conversation. But like
Okay,
we
cool.
say on our show, it's all about the balance.
Yeah,
Okay.
For sure. Okay, thank you guys for your input. I appreciate it.
No problem. Does anybody else have any questions when it comes to the nutrition side of sports or anything like that? Ivan?
No, I'm good. I'm good. That was excellent. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I want to say thank you to everybody. Next month, we're going to do something completely different. It's going to be great. We're going to have a professional chef and nutritionist do a live cooking demo.
So
I will be sending out a grocery list. And if you want to participate during the moment, or you can just watch, take notes, learn how to do it yourself. But either way, it'll be the same. It might be a later time because he is on the West Coast. So please look out for our like whatever, like Ivan's newsletter or announcements and stuff like that. I'll also post it on the This Great City website if there's a time change, but it will be on the same day, the first Tuesday of every month. Okay. So, anywho,